But for now, it's all about game 2, baby. Enemy, ALG. Now, if I'm enemy, nothing really, I'm mad about the last team fight, but I'm not mad about the game. If I'm Pain, I can't bark at my team about how we played. I can't go back to picks and bans. Give me the same draft, give me the same game, and don't get flanked out towards the end. So picks and bans, I don't expect anything different here.
No, not at all. I expect, and if enemy is going to be first pick in the second game picks and bans, they should still be going for the Janus specifically. It was working out for them. There's no reason to really change it in picks and bans.
Exactly. Do you think we'll see the ban of Janus at all from ALG?
It depends, because it was hit or miss for Khaos. It worked out in some situations, and then other times it bit him because he used it too aggressively, like that red buff invade around the 20-minute mark or so, where there was no escape afterwards.
I'm with you. I think that when I saw the Janus pick, I was like, whoa, they didn't ban Janus. I can't believe that. But after watching the gameplay, I said, all right, you know what? That's not a must-ban god anymore. Maybe Khaos had an off game, and this game he'll go 12-0-1, and he'll just destroy everything and say, I told you so. Or maybe not.
Well, on top of that, Pain didn't have the Athena to pair up with the Janus. It was banned out. He was very heavily focused in the picks and bans. He was forced to go into the Kepri, which worked out quite a lot. It provided a lot of secondary life support for all of the members, especially Shattered, who would love to dive the backline.
Now, I love the bans coming out of enemy here. Last time around, they did the same thing. Banning Neith and Soul, this bans out. A lot of times we mention, listen, you can't ban out player X because they've got too many choices. Welcome to the Pro League in 2016. Everybody's got 3-4 gods that they can really play at a high level. Maybe I'm being generous, but I feel like most of the players totally can. Neith and Soul, you're banning out a play style. This is a definitive play style that you're banning out. You're not saying, hey, you're too good at Janus, say no. You're not saying this god is too overpowered, say no. Enemy is saying that whole Neith mid with the magical hunter thing, we don't like playing against it, so the entire idea of that game plan is not available. You won't be able to do that. I like that approach to the game, and Enemy going to take, again, very enemy-esque play style. They're going to opt for Janus as their first selection.
I mean, those bans were targeted at MLC for sure. Like, they know Weekend likes to play aggressive anywhere he goes in any side lane. Sometimes it's solo, sometimes it's Hunter. But putting up Neith with MLC would allow Weekend to find the plays that he really likes to find. And on top of this, now it's going to be the Athena and Susano for Allegiance. They're going to rely more of this early game pressure from Weekend. And this time, they're not going to give up the Athena for Pain, because Allegiance expects Athena to be picked before the secondary ban phase.
For sure. Enemy instead going to go for the Guan. So a little bit of sustain on Enemy's side this time around next to the Janus. They'll get one more choice in the first round as well. We'll see where they opt to go. Whether it is going to be the Hunter. I was expecting the Hunter choice for Fearno, just making him a little bit more comfortable, not having that banned out or the potential to be banned out. So the Jing one more time, going to show up on the side of Enemy.
Kukulkan for MLC Stealth. It's been shown before. He likes to play this god. It has a lot of burst damage to be able to try to force out the Gold Fury. And this could be an option for them, because Allegiance, they put pressure soul lane. They do it once. Okay. Enemy has to respond by defending the soul lane. And then there goes the Gold Fury for ALG.
I like what ALG does here too. I think the ALG have taken a note out of Enemy and Panthera and Paradigm, some of the more successful teams that play their own game, meta be damned. Allegiance and MLC came out and said this himself, which I thought was very cool. Allegiance allow him to play what he thinks will give himself the best opportunity to perform. And a lot of times, teams can be no, the meta dictates that you must play this. Kukulkan, make no mistake, not exactly a popular god. In fact, it's only really been played by Allegiance, and it doesn't win 100% of the time. But they still allow MLC to go down this route because they trust in their mid laner, and having that trust on your team, very important. And just more so than playing meta.
And just looking at the composition from ALG to set up this Kukulkan, you have Athena Taunt, which could set up, Tornado and the Slow from his first ability, and Susano has the Typhoon knockup, a pull of his own. There's a lot of setup for Kukulkan, and he can be so patient with that ultimate. He doesn't have to throw it out from the get-go. There's going to be a lot of purification burn between the jungle and support from ALG.
Exactly. So a lot of usage for the Kukulkan here. And again, last game we mentioned we weren't very happy with the lack of objective secure. Well, Kukulkan certainly one of the masterminds when it comes to the OBJ secure, so he'll be in a very strong position. Freya will round out the draft for Team Allegiance, one of my personal favorite characters. We'll see how the Hunter works out well on Freya.
A lot of magical damage, like late game hyper carry
Yep.
magical damage from ALG between this Freya in the Hunter role, Kukulkan in mid. Now, on the flip side though, if enemy can shut down those two specific characters, then you're looking at a different scenario where enemy, which is their normal role, their identity to
Yep.
play aggressive with Guan Yu on Pain especially, that could be something they're looking for.
MLC Stealth does have a lot of protection here. Kukulkan definitely very easy to shut down, which is why we see, hey, Athena ultimate on top of Susano peel, which Weekend has proven to be very, very strong and adept at when it comes to using the Susano kit sort of in the control, with respect to control. Weekend does a very good job at that. And then later on, Cope joining the fight, Amaterasu is going to be able to peel for Kukulkan by way of stun, by way of movement speed aura as well.
And MLC is feeling very confident going into Soulstone. He's paired against a Bastet for Shatter, so he's forced to go into not Purification, but the Sanctuary, just to survive all that damage over time. So perfect counter, MLC.
Yep.
He's going to be playing really far back with Incon and Weekend in the front.
I feel like it's kind of rare to see a level 1 Sanctuary. Usually we see that later, if anything, but I love it. I think it provides a lot of situations where you can eat the crowd control and then wind up using the Sanctuary. But like you said, Shattered on the Bastet doesn't really have much crowd control, so you're not really using these beads early on. Khaos, well, don't get stuck in a portal. And PainDeViande has to ult you.
It
right?
seems Weekend invaded the speed buff from enemy with the Wrath available, and they're not going to let the blue buff go just quite yet because they want to let the wave enter first, being able to clear that out and then look for the invade after. They're going to hit level 2 off this wave, I think.
And Elite is going to do what they can here to even zone just a little bit. Last time you mentioned how important it was to even have one minion die, and that's what we see here. Elite take their aggressive invade onto the speed buff and then play that into aggressive stancing and positioning in the solo lane, and Elite's are going to double back. They want to go for that blue buff. No Wrath available for a minute, but we can certainly still here and ready.
They're not going for the blue. They're going for poke into the solo lane. There's not that much escape, but they're going to look for the clear now. It's very difficult as level 1s at this point to find the clear. Now, with Cope being level 3, this blue buff, there's no realistic chance for enemy to contest it.
Exactly. They show up and they will likely, in fact, they will definitely wind up getting turned on and killed. So Elite I like the decision there, allowing themselves to get some levels above the opposition. Level 1 still, right before that wave fell down for enemy. And now, looking for the fight. Dashing forward is Weekend, jumping away is Shattered. Good play.
This is the old school Weekend, camping the solo lane right off the bat, looking for the invades whenever possible, and snowballing off of this lead. Now, MLC, he's very comfortable. He doesn't have to worry about this Bastet for a long period of time. The right side Harpies are going to get traded for left. The dual lane looks like there was a little bit of pressure on the side of ALG.
And that allows enemy to wrap around. We'll see Jing and PainDeViande both level up off of those Harpies. Very important Harpies to really wrap around for. In fact, now they're ahead of the dual lane for Allegiance. Fearno just about to hit level 4.
MLC now hitting level 5. He's not going to be much team fights going on for him quite yet. There's still a lot of back Harpies to go. And on top of this, you have your own speed and own blue for you, the boys of ALG.
So everybody just going to pick up their own buffs at this point. ALG, oh right, we've got our own jungle, like you said. Just sort of been a while to pick it up. And more importantly, now your timers are going to be defunct. You've got this syncopation over here on the right-hand side, so Legions can hit up the enemy jungle and then hit up their own jungle. They are able to get that timing without wasting any of that experience.
Still camping the solo lane onto Marauder. Going to find the pull and the poke, allowing more pressure for Cope. The through space and time was used just to alleviate a little bit of pressure.
And come on by, and the early elementals will be taken by enemy. Well played there. And we can make the play on the Sun Wukong before the ultimate is available. Very important. Trying to get the, like you said, just push up and push out and continue to snowball. But with the opportunity, we saw it last game as well, finding these players before they find their very important ultimates is a big deal.
And on top of this, now Shatter could be caught in an awkward position. The ultimate not used quite yet. Purification was, however. Tornado is
it enough?
Not enough.
Just barely. Shattered escaping with literally 10 HP.
I'm surprised that MLC held on to his ultimate, but he did it just to be able to secure the speed buff instead. Good recognition. Athena landing down for the first blood on Marauder.
Marauder, wow, just stomped by the surprise. I mean, not really surprise rotation from Incon on the Athena, but I just don't think anybody expected that one to just actually deal the killing blow to Marauder for the first blood of all things. So now there's support with the extra 500 gold.
But enemy, they give up their red because of how much pressure they applied onto the solo lane, which is fine, honestly. I'd rather have speed at this point for my jungler than red being stolen.
It's possible. Wukong and his teammates might not be too upset about that.
PainDeViande gonna die to that triple ultimate from Cope. This is what you want to see from Allegiance. The growing, the maturity between Cope right now, being paired up with Wukong, bringing back the old school Wukong that we know. Just camping the soul lane, finding the invades, and whenever he found the speed buff later on at the 2:15 mark, he still had the speed buff available for the invade.
But see, this is sort of Wukong 2. or 3. Let's say it's new, old Wukong. Right?
We'll say 2.1.
Sure, it's the newer version of Wukong, but he's doing the classic. So it's classic Wukong, but with a more mature take on the game. So he's going for the solo lane camp. It used to just be, hey, get Cyclone ahead and he'll carry us. Now we're going for the solo lane camp so that we can get all of the other stuff, whether it's a buff camp invade, whether it's forcing a rotation to pick off somebody in an awkward spot. All of that stuff now lines itself up for the guys on Allegiance, and Wukong's aware of that. Before it was just, let's get this one lane ahead. Now there's so many more ripple effects, and I think Allegiance are a full-blown team that understand what's going on with those hits.
Like you mentioned, it's all just a chain of events for ALG. They recognize Bastet is weak early, so Wukong goes for that early Wrath, and they're just going to apply more pressure because of the fact that MLC held on to that ultimate in the mid lane. They poked out the Bastet, but the counter invade on speed.
Coming out in speed, not going to find much, but there's the chase away. Ultimate out of Janus hits one. Shattered in trouble. Pain in trouble. Chase on. Curse will hit both. Well done by Incon. PainDeViande going to fall down again. Incon gets a kill. He's 2/3 of the team's kills.
And Shattered, barely able to escape, forced to retreat under his back right. Speed buff going into the way still of Wukong. The Gold Fury is being looked at. The Wrath is available. The ultimate from Stealth as well.
So Allegiance talking about it, now pulling it. Incon here, Wukong pulling. Gold Fury already pretty low, half HP already, and like we said, Kukulkan dropping the ultimate, and there it goes. Wrath falls down as well. 6 minutes on the clock, and Allegiance up 1,500 gold. 2,000 actually. Look at that.
That's pretty impressive at 6 minutes. That was a 3 or 4 second Gold Fury on top of that because of the Wrath and the ultimate from Stealth. This is their mentality going into it. The fact that Stealth has the ultimate makes the Wrath option that much more alluring for Wukong.
Again, Allegiance going to get on the aggressive, going for the speed buff invade. Here comes Janus trying to stop it. And he'll be successful. It looks like Shattered picks up his own buff. Shattered misses, so Allegiance with the successful invade. That's the danger of the tornadoes dropped down by the Kukulkan. You just can never be sure when it's going to end.
And Wukong went back in, trying to find the triple hit and then the dash escape immediately after. He knew that he would be safe. His teammates were right behind him, but yet again, going for the speed leaves your red buff wide open. Enemy Venenu, though, he is around the corner, gets spotted out, but you can't really commit that deep when you're behind.
Exactly. It's a 1-on-3 scenario. Even when you're ahead, 1-on-3 is kind of a little bit rough. So opts not to go for it. Instead, we'll play relatively safe here in lane.
And this is Venenu still without Fatalis. This is going to be very scary. The fact that ALG has applied this much pressure in solo, Venenu has been quietly farming to the point where once he gets this item, teamfights start breaking out. He's going to be bursting people so quickly, especially with the burst coming from Stealth.
And especially since he'll be a little bit ahead. Like you said, that'll be certainly a large thing for Allegiance to start looking at. Still with that 2,000 gold lead. Very important. And you can see the results of the extreme aggression coming out from Allegiance. A lot of times this experience per minute is sort of dictated by position. You'll see solo laners at the top, and it'll be red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. Right before. Different story until just now.
Yes, we see Allegiance now grouped up for the blue buff invade, just constantly shutting down Marauder. And that's so brutal whenever you're some Wukong without a blue buff, now 3 levels trailing behind Cope on this Amaterasu, who's getting to that mid-game form, maxing out the aura for the mobility.
Right side, Sun Wukong doing what he can. Leaders have been providing so much pressure that he finds an Amaterasu in between his mid and or his tier 1 and tier 2 tower. Cope does find the exit, pretty much unpunished for it too. Just clean proxy clearing. And before 10 minutes, Legion certainly looking like they're in the driver's seat of this one.
He has 1,100 gold on his opposition as well as 3 levels, so it allows him to be this aggressive.
Legions want to make another play. Trouble, but the Janus portal able to get the player out of jail. Shattered, jumping all the way home. Legions have a lot of room here.
Venenu making the rotation middle, going to clear out the wave with the rest of his team thinking about probably aggressing towards tier 1 mid because Golf here is not responding for another 2 minutes.
Exactly. And plus the wave of minions is here as well. Janus wants no part of this. Khaos says, hey, tier 1 tower going down. Where can we respond? The team, instead of collapsing in mid, goes ahead and pushes their own thing. You see Fearno pushing up on the left and Marauder going to push up on the right as well. That's the right call to make because there's no way for that rotation to happen fast enough.
And that's the result of those 2 non-kills onto Shattered and onto Pain. They were poked out to the point where they had to go back to base or die. So this allows Allegiance a 2-player advantage in essence to get this free tier 1 tower pre-10 minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not Jing Wei, it takes you a while to walk up the lane, so the non-kill certainly coming into factor there, forcing out the ultimate down to Marauder. An enemy, well, they finally get their own speed buff. Allegiance a little bit slow in the uptake and missed the invade for the first time all game. So 2 out of 3 speed buffs this game have belonged to Allegiance. But enemy with their first one, Shadow getting ready to make a play.
Well, I like the idea that Allegiance had because they forced out the ultimate from Marauder, which was the idea.
So Shattered, totally, he's actually ahead of Weekend. And you can see, as far as the gold is concerned, obviously behind 500, but as far as experience is concerned, Shattered's got about a half a level up on Weekend. Where did this come from? Was Weekend just spending too much time rotating around the map?
Well, he was hovering around mid lane for quite a while. I'm sorry, hovering around solo lane for quite a while, which is what allowed MLC to get the solo experience, whereas Khaos and Shattered, they were sharing it. So that's why you see the deficit from Khaos, but then you see Shattered ahead of Weekend.
First item Witchblade from Freya.
We haven't seen this since Bronx Bombers actually started doing this a lot onto the Freya back in the day. It's pretty efficient against these sort of physical carries, especially against the Bastet. You're trying to survive early on. It makes a little bit of sense.
I mean, it makes sense. Not a lot of basic attack power on the side of enemy, just the Hunter, pretty much. So it's not like he's combating that specifically. It's just a physical power. PainDeViande forced ultimate to... Well, I say forced ultimate to get out of trouble, but he turns around looking at Weekend, knowing that Khaos is in tow. He's got Fearno there as well. Ultimate out of Athena will save the life of the jungler, but the shot off the mark.
So very close. Not this time around for Khaos. Weekend was probably clenched a little bit there, but still has the Wrath available.
And with the ultimate down for Khaos, not a lot of secure on the side of enemy, so Elita's going to go ahead and grab it. MLC Stealth does have his ultimate available, ready to go. Half HP on the gold. Pain does what he can, dashes out. Patton's going to miss. Now, everybody from Allegiance blocking the Janus portal, taking out PainDeViande. Fearno forced the ultimate from left side to right side. Slow still on the mark. MLC Stealth, perfect aim. And now turns around and realizes, hey, I've got a job to do here as well. Ready to drop it. Doesn't even need the ultimate. Down goes the Wrath, and down goes the gold. Allegiance winds up leading 4K gold.
The maturity of Stealth to not use his ultimate for the kill onto Fearno, just in case somebody from Allegiance was still around Gold Fury, showing that his presence of mind was still on the objective. And now Shattered dropping the kitties, trying to get this tier 2 cope, trying to do his best to defend this tower, but too many minions.
Gotta make a play. Absolutely gotta make a play. Love that enemy respond here, and it takes that lead, the 4,000 gold lead, cuts it a little bit. 1,500 in the pocket for that tier 2 tower, so it was a 4,000 gold lead, now just 2,200.
And now it's a 2-level advantage for Shattered, and he's revealed his strategy of what he really wants to do in this game. Is just split push, finding these towers. This is something that we've seen before out of enemy. They've done it before at LAN events as well. They like to lean on this Bastet pick because there's so much comeback potential. Even if you're ahead of the Bastet, it doesn't matter if she's going to find all the Phoenixes.
Shattered in some trouble himself here, going to get chased down by the Susano. A little bit of dodging, nice play. Shattered still gets hit by the ultimate out of the Amaterasu, but avoids the stun. Well done. Still going to fall down to Cope's basics.
You cannot outrun the movement speed from the Amaterasu. Unfortunately, the portals were placed back into the soul lane, so didn't want to take that one.
Not really ready and willing to go into the enemy. Instead, enemy now looking for an invade. Not gonna commit to it too hard. You can see the Athena ultimate going to bring another player over here. Damage for PainDeViande. He's trying to do what he can. An enemy going to respond. There's the taunt onto the Athena. Shot thrown. Not really going to hit. PainDeViande getting body blocks from his solo laner. And that'll save his life.
Amaterasu without too much mana. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, there's a boxing. Fearno forced to retreat. Venenu going to find the whoop, still committing under the tier 2 now.
Sanctuary saving Fearno right there. I think if Sanctuary doesn't come out, Fearno gets chased down by the inevitable Venenu ultimate, and then we see that death, and we see who knows what happens over here in the left lane. So Fearno, definitely right relic of choice there for the substitute hunter. Again, Fearno just coming in for PandaCat. Did in week 1 here as well in week number 2.
Doing a great job holding his own against Fearno and Venenu in general. Like, such a new rookie out of Venenu. He's not something that we're known to see these plays, but just recently, if you've been watching his streams, you see his mindset. I think he's been making some YouTube content as well, where he's been explaining all his little decisions, and this is the kind of SPL player that we can see rise very quickly.
And, you know, going back to his itemization choice of the Witchblade, like you said, it's a good item to go head-to-head against the enemy hunter with in lane. That's really what it's there for. It's a laning item. And then the Fatalis drawn up a third. Trouble for Marauder, force him into the ultimate. He'll be surrounded, but should generally be fine. And Venenu also has this creativity. He put himself on the map by building Shifter Shield first item on traditional hunters. So definitely not afraid to do his own thing.
Shattered is thinking about diving this tier 2 on the left, trading yet again tier 2 for tier 2. Enemy still in pace for trading efficiently here. It's only Incon right now. We do have rotation from Cope in the mid lane, but he's not going to get here in time.
Yeah, the cats are down. Shattered and Fearno now looking towards the tower. Incon the only one able to play defense. Half HP on the tower already. Shattered trying to do what he can as he's here as well. You see Cope join the party next to Incon. Tower still alive for the moment. Right side, not even any damage put on it just yet. Shattered waiting for his opportunity to jump over the wall. Other side, team fight. 3-on-3. Again, shot dodged. Khaos just barely off the mark. Backside, Venenu dealing out those basics. One shot from the ultimate will do it. And there it is. Incon steals the kill away. Takes out Khaos.
Great job by Venenu with Incon. The sprint being used just to disengage. Marauder, his ultimate is not available to escape. And tier 2 tower still being aggressive. Cope made the rotation with teleport.
Venenu gets the kill one more time. Shatter joins the party as well. Venenu doing his best to take out a tower, but that's the downside. Doesn't have that tower damage, but MLC has the god damage. Fearno taken out by a perfect ultimate from the mid lane.
The purification was used, it was just a little too late, and now tier 2 still being pressured. Allegiance with a 3-player advantage getting this tier 2 tower. Gold is about to respawn. Shattered gonna get dope. This is gonna be a free one for Weekend.
Weekend goes hard, and Weekend takes home the bacon. Shattered falling down there is number 9 for Allegiance. Folks, it is a 16-minute shutout, and Allegiance is still going on, taking the last of the 6 towers, 1 in the mid, 1 on the left-hand side. This mid one will fall down, leaving enemy with just 1 structure remaining, plus Phoenix.
They're going to go for the Gold Fear. The Wrath is available. Not having MLC Stealth's ultimate hurts their clear potential, but on the side of enemy, contesting this gold, they don't have the burst to really contest with Wrath either.
Yeah, with Chaos's ultimate down, nothing really to talk about. And then plus, like you said, Wrath on the side of Incon, or rather Weekend, nobody really able to do much of anything. Even so, Allegiance not ready to take the gamble. They're only up by 8,000 gold. So definitely something that enemy can fight into, and something that they will. There's Khaos with an early kill out of the ultimate. Venenu sit down. PainDeViande gets a stun, but still not done. Marauder cutting out the exit on the left-hand side. MLC Cell gets out just a little bit, drops the ultimate, hits no one, splits the uprights, and enemy, they win the team fight 1-0.
Just great pressure from enemy. Now, the fact that Venenu went back to pick up the red buff is why they dove that. They found the cavalry charge, nowhere for him to go. His ultimate was still down from that previous tier 2 tower siege, and now it's enemy with the tier 2 tower siege on the left.
They've got the numbers and they've got the confidence. Chased out his Weekend already. PainDeViande in some trouble. Shell will save the life and allow him to heal up after the fact. There's a portal by Janus to allow his teammates to get on out. Allegiance with a good defensive set, but now they want to turn it around. They got to be careful. Fearno's swinging. He's got those Chinsai online.
You cannot outrun Amaterasu. Fearno's going to get chased down. Shatter's going to find the taunt, setting up MLC. There's action on the left. There's action down middle. Cope still committing onto Fearno, forcing the ult.
Yeah, that'll put Fearno safe and sound under his own tower, but certainly scared the man. Enemy find themselves on the board. Finally, with a kill, but unable to take down the tower.
Towers was actually being taken, surprisingly enough. Somebody was able to get the last hit.
Just then.
It might have been Shattered that found the last hit and then disengaged immediately after. Sneaky Bastet
I'll
plays.
say likely. It's a sneaky Bastet play. That's what he
Ultimate
likes to
is
do.
down as well, so that could have been the play.
Gold Fury started. 75 already by the guys on Allegiance. Trying to keep the guys from enemy out. There's a
space and
long-range
time.
shot.
Little
Not
off the
really-
mark.
Well, it's off the mark, but it's going to bring enemy into the conversation. So Khaos and his team show up, and now Allegiance, well, they want to make sure Pain can't escape. It's a good shot from Khaos, but Pain in a lot of trouble. Marauder in some trouble as well. Allegiance just collapsing on everybody.
It was a good zoning by Marauder. Shattered, look where he's going, though. He's heading towards the right. Maybe he's thinking about the Phoenix during this Gold Fury siege, but coming back into the team fight.
Yeah, you can see the wraparound from enemy trying to make this stop 50%, but there's the Wrath right about now. Doesn't even need it. They saved it just in case Fire Giant needs to come around. They used the Kukulkan ultimate to shove the enemy away. Ultimate out of Cope. Not going to find anybody.
Slow onto Marauder. He doesn't have his ultimate. He doesn't
That's
have
trouble.
the bird form. That's going to be a free one for Venenu. And look where Shattered is. He's thinking about, he's backing. I thought he was going to go for the back door.
He was thinking about it, but the response from enemy, I think, changed his mind. Enemy group up, or Allegiance rather, group up in the mid, and then start to look towards the enemy's jungle. Now everything should basically reset, unless you're Allegiance. They haven't stopped once. I feel like the foot's been on the gas the entire time.
There's no reason to stop when Marauder's still dead. That's a heavy front line for enemy to try to defend. Dash, taunt onto two members. The Typhoon gonna find Fearno, and that's gonna be it. Pain's trying to run away. The ultimate from Venenu, gonna find a second one.
And wonderful play coming out from the guys on Allegiance, and that's what you got to do. Every time we see the tower siege with a Freya team, we always mention, hey, that's what happens when you trade out the Freya for a Hunter. You don't have that power onto the structures. Well, so don't attack the structures, attack the players. Then you can take all the time in the world to take down these objectives. Phoenix going down a little bit slower, but the players going down plenty quick. Marauder, no HP. Phoenix just about to fall.
And Venenu, recognizing the portal, was down for just a brief moment, forcing out the Sanctuary. The left side Phoenix does fall. Shattered was split pushing in mid for a little while, got zoned away by Weekend though.
And Shattered is a response to some of the aggression that we've seen out of Allegiance, but he hasn't really been able to go ahead and make himself really, he hasn't been able to make that presence known. We've seen it a handful of times on the split push, but unable to really find a lot of the damage. You can see him sitting there below a lot of the players, way down on the bottom, number 8 out of 10. As far as player damage is concerned.
We talked about map objective versus the combat efficiency, and this is something that Allegiance have been a little bit better about. This is the combat efficiency. They're just constantly being aggressive because of their characters as well.
Exactly. EnVyUs right there. Venenu just trying to get to his target a little bit quicker. Wants to get away from the cats. Just slowing him down. He'll turn and burn. Allegiance on the other hand, surrounding Shattered and putting him down. PainDeViande on the front side, trying to deal with Weekend, who gets the knockup and the kill onto Khaos. Well done by the jungler.
There was no relics for him to use. Recognizing this was Weekend ultimate from MLC is slightly off the mark, just zoning to allow the rest of his team to get the mid Phoenix.
And that'll push everybody out. Allegiance gets the mid Phoenix halfway down, still fighting. Pain on the horse immediately comes down for the stun, knowing he's in a lot of trouble if Venenu keeps on swinging.
Gonna try to find the hits, but too low as the members of Allegiance have to back off quite a bit. There's not much mana on their side. They're rather more content with walking away with the left side Phoenix win. They could go for Fire Giant for free.
And not going to start it up just yet. Players will
low.
back. Too low. Too low. So no objective being started by the boys on Allegiance, but they certainly are ready for it. 10,000 gold in the lead here, folks. 14 kills as well. With just 22 minutes on the clock, Allegiance, if we can take a look at the graphs, they've been running it pretty much since they decided to go for it. They've been aggressive, but at about that 15-minute mark, they said, all right, ready, set, go. We're Allegiance. We've got our Amaterasu ready to fight with the rest of the team. And at that 15-minute mark, that's when we really saw Freya and Amaterasu join the party, and everything has been Allegiance's favor since then.
4 out of the top 5 player damage of this game is going to Allegiance. They've just been on point ever since their beginning strategy of invading the speed buff. They never let go of the pressure, like you mentioned before. They're still trying to find a pick, but now look at this. Finally, Shattered being very patient. He's going to respond back with the left side Phoenix. He's going to try to go for the kitty split push.
And it's going to work. This is a very good call. Shatter drops the cats, and look at his build. Halfway through the Titan's Bane. Don't forget, that gives 22% penetration on that rank 2 of the Titan's Bane. So even still, getting what he came for. Phoenix going to go right on down. Shatter loses the cats, but still, certainly a couple of basics. Not enough damage. Can't confirm, Toli.
He doesn't have the
damage. That's
damage.
a big deal.
He didn't have the penetration necessary. No Crusher, no Titan's Bane. The ultimate gonna find 2 with a nice knockup, and now enemy is in big trouble.
MLC follows up the ult with a basic and takes out PainDeViande. 1 player down, 4 left to defend. Allegiance still looking forward. There's the ultimates out of Venenu to try and take out Khaos, and he gets him. Knock up. Fearno goes the other direction, right into different players. Curse will slow his distance and stop him from getting into the fountain with 3 dead. Allegiance looking to clean this one up. 2-0, netting them 3 more points in the Smite Pro League.
Really impressive play from Weekend and Cope. Just on point. First game, second game, finding these 2 wins. Enemy struggling a little bit without PandaCat. They don't have the same style and synergy that we know that they're capable of.
Exactly.
And that could be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Fearno seems to do fine. As far as, you know, when it comes to the synergy and everything, it's not really that for me. It's that you have had this even before PandaCat was sort of the superstar that he is now. PandaCat was still making the flash plays. That's why he evolved into becoming the superstar. That hunter role for enemy has been a lot of the heavy lifting out of their team, and there's certainly something missing without that over-aggressive power in the long lane. So because of that, without PandaCat, stories on the other side of the long lane. It's all about Venenu. He looked very, very strong in both games.
Just building very efficiently on top. I love his build in the second game, trying to survive against Shattered Kitties, building the Witchblade immediately after the boots. And this is the late game Freya that you have to respect. And this is why the Sanctuaries have been being popped so frequently that when you don't have the Sanctuary from Freya, then you don't have it from her ultimate or even MLC Stealth's ultimate.
Exactly. You know, the Witchblade is traditionally looked at as a team item. You build it against a specific team. Well, Venenu just built it against his own lane to beat it out just a little bit more so. And realizing that, you know, Fatalis Boots allows you to do a lot, but his team doesn't need him at minute 10. They need him, well, 15, 16, 17. And right here, this is where we saw Venenu really join the squad and where the lead for Allegiance started getting carried away.
And it's been because of the pressure from Weekend in the early game, which is why you don't need the Fatalis early on from Venenu. The fact that you have the Wrath and MLC Stealth's ultimate on the Kukulkan gets these Gold Furies anyway. You don't really need the mobility, just win the team fights.
Just understanding the bigger picture there is Venenu and the rest of the squad. Like we said, 3 more points on the side of ALG puts them in a better position for the Smite Pro League. So again, we'll come back to our combat and map efficiencies. Let's take a look at where these teams wound up as far as those are concerned. 71 again for ALG, so just above that sort of median line. And be aware, we'll see this sort of median and average really start to solidify itself. This is sort of 1 week's worth of stats, and as we see more and more of it, we'll get more acclimated and used to what these teams are actually capable of. But on the other side, it really was problematic to see just a 40 for enemy.
It was basically the result of that early invade, the strategy from all of Allegiance. It just keeps growing.
Which is what we saw right there. You saw all the red and 0 blue at 5 minutes. The first 2 rounds of buffs were just stolen by ALG. And then slowly but surely, enemy are able to get a little bit of their own jungle back because ALG were more concerned about the rest of the map. 59% map control going after they take out a bunch of towers.
And this is how you have to play against the Bastet in the jungle role. You have to try to find her early exploits at level 1, because without a Bastet, like Stealth, he was just on point because he went into the Sanctuary because he didn't need to worry about using Purification for anything.
Absolutely. I mean, MLC Stealth, back to his old form if you ask this guy, certainly doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the side of ALG. Maybe found a new home. Either way, we've got him on the line. Congratulations, MLC. You've done fantastically throughout the past couple of weeks, and your teams have found the win. Congrats again.
Hey, thank you so much.
No problem, man. I've been really enjoying following you both on Twitter, online, on stream, everything. You seem really positive about this fall split. Talk to me a little bit about that and why you are all smiles this time around.
I kind of feel like I have to be all smiles. I think that was a problem with when I got not on the Cloud9 team anymore and I switched to Envy.
Sure.
I was kind of still holding on to the fact that, man, I wish that didn't happen. I wish I could go back to that team. But it's been long enough, and I've finally been able to move past that, and I can like accept the team I'm on, and I just want to improve this team.
So do you think, we didn't really see much of you in the spring split, do you think that helped you sort of bring your mind into the right spot, having that moment of that hiatus?
Yeah, possibly. I probably needed a season to do like mediocre, so I could say, okay, I need to change, or I need to get back to like what I used to be doing. And being like average for a season kind of helped me realize that.
For your mentality moving forward, being on a team with Weekend and Incon compared to being onto Jeff and Andy, that must have been like a drastic change. How has that impacted you going from the previous split to this one?
It's different playing with a set of different people. It's a lot of fun though. There was a moment during these games where there was a lot of team communication. Incon and Weekend are really, really good shot callers, and they were talking up a storm about who to go on, which objective to go to next, what abilities to use, and I kind of just like stopped talking and listened for a second, and it was really reminiscent of how we played at the first Worlds when we were COG Prime. It sounded like a team that really wanted to win, and it sounded like a team who like knew how to win with their communication.
Do you think that's going to be where your team winds up here?
It's really possible. Every day we scrim, we get better and better, and we are. Yeah, I think we're a pretty good team. I think we got a chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, talking about as far as ALG is concerned, two things have really spoken to me that you have said publicly. You said, if you're not winning, you're learning. And then you followed that up a couple of days ago by saying, thank God for my team, or something along those lines. You're very happy that they sort of trust you and allow you to play what you want. It sounds like a very healthy environment. Talk to me a little bit about the culture behind what ALG is now.
I think everybody on Allegiance didn't really expect us to be the best team right away. So I was kind of just allowed to play whatever god I wanted to, and I was like, Kukulkan's going to be good here, I guess. I'm just going to do it. And it's actually like seeming to work. Seems like it's working a lot right now, whereas like specifically on COG Prime or something, Annenster would just pretty much tell me what god to play, even if I wasn't most comfortable with it, or if it like didn't perform that well in that certain situation. He would just think that's the best thing for me to do. But now I kind of just do my own thing, and it seems to be working really well.
Yeah, we're seeing more stealth in the new and the like you said, the Kukulkan pick. Poseidon coming back anytime soon, baby?
I don't think Poseidon's very good.
I don't think so, man. I'm just messing around anyway. Yeah, congratulations. You've looked absolutely fire lately, man. Any shout outs to anybody at home you want to give?
Mostly just to my team. I think we're doing really well, and we're an underdog team that's kind of proving that we should be where we are, and we're doing pretty good.
Completely agree. Thanks again, Stealth, for joining us. It's going to be MLC Stealth, the mid laner for ALG. Sounded he sounded a little bit out of breath. Don't know what he's doing over there.
An epic set.
Yeah, just excited.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, very, very fun to watch. Really seeing ALG just step forward, watching what they're able to do and seeing them turn around. Last time ALG were fighting to avoid relegation, and now this time ALG might be one of the teams that are fighting to make it to Worlds. They've got to do a lot of ladder climbing. They got to win a lot of games. All you got to do is go to hi-rezexpo.com and pick up your tickets. So hi-rez expo is going to be a lot of fun. We're always there, and the teams, your favorite teams, well, they'll try their best to make it.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, with the kind of leadership that Allegiance has right now and the way they've been playing recently. They could easily make Worlds.
A lot of Smite to be played just before then. Keep in mind, it's September now. Happy September 1st. We've got a couple of months until then. hi-rez Expo takes place in January, but you definitely want to get your tickets. But right now, we've got a game. Stay tuned. We'll bring you here in just a few.